In the heart of the bitterly cold Alaskan wilderness, where the pine trees stood tall like ancient sentinels and the biting winds whispered forgotten tales, a group of 5 friends, Mia, Jake, Emily, Ryan, and Nora, decided to embark on a winter camping trip. They were thrill seekers, drawn to the allure of adventure, and this trip was meant to be a blend of fun and daring challenges. Unbeknownst to them, the tales they had only heard in passing were more than mere stories, they were warnings. As they set up camp beneath the shimmering northern lights, laughter filled the air and warmth from their campfire fought back the chill that seemed to creep deeper with each crackling ember. They spent the first night sharing ghost stories, each trying to one-up the other with tales of creatures lurking in the shadows. When it came to Mia's turn, she spoke of the Wendigo, a spirit of insatiable hunger that roamed the forest, consumed by its own greed. "They say it's a curse," Mia explained, her voice low. "A person can become a Wendigo after being lost in the woods and turning to cannibalism to survive. Once it takes hold, it craves human flesh, and it's forever doomed to wander, starving yet never full." Jake rolled his eyes, dismissing her with a wave of his hand. "Come on, are we really going to believe in some ancient myth? Let's just enjoy the trip." But as the night grew colder, an eerie silence enveloped the forest. The wind seemed to sigh, and the laughter began to fade. Ryan glanced at the dense trees, heavy with snow, their branches creaking ominously. "Maybe we shouldn't stay out here too long," he suggested, his voice barely above a whisper. The group decided to turn in for the night, but sleep was elusive. Shadows danced just beyond the reach of the firelight, and the wind felt like a breath against their skin, cold and watchful. Hours passed, and just as Mia began to drift, a blood-curdling scream shattered the tranquility. They bolted upright, hearts racing. "What was that?" Emily exclaimed, eyes wide with terror. Nora grabbed her flashlight, and despite the protests of her friends, she stepped outside the warm glow of the tent. "Stay here," Mia hissed, but Nora was already turning the beam of her flashlight toward the trees. "I'll be quick." As the beam of light swept through the thicket, Ryan joined her, his instinct to protect outweighing his fear. Suddenly, an explosion of movement caught their eyes. The light revealed nothing but darkness and snow, but then a figure emerged, a gaunt silhouette with elongated limbs and sunken eyes that burned with a strange, pale light. It stood still, eerily unnatural, before it let out a guttural noise, a sound that was more like an animal than a human. Nora stumbled back, her breath hitching in her throat. "What the hell is that?" she gasped. In that moment, they all felt it. The weight of hunger emanating from the creature, an emptiness that clawed at the edges of their sanity. The group scrambled back inside the tent, but as they huddled together, fear took root in their minds. One by one, they recalled snippets of local lore, stories of disappearances and grotesque transformations in the neighboring woods. "Do you think it could be?" Emily started, her voice quivering. "No," Jake interrupted, shifting nervously. "It's just a trick of the light or maybe some animal. It can't be anything more." But as night settled deeply around them, their bravado fizzled in the face of the unknown. They heard whispers outside, low and menacing, and the sound of snapping twigs, too deliberate to be an animal. The glimmer of pale eyes reflected the light of the moon, circling their camp like a predator. Panic ensued. They decided to pack their things in silence, the weight of dread tightening around their chests. Just as they were about to make a run for it, the tent flaps tore open, and the Wendigo lunged inside with horrifying speed. It was a twisted mockery of a human, its mouth agape, revealing rows of jagged teeth. Mia screamed, the sound tearing through the night as the creature lunged for them. In the chaos, Ryan stumbled, catching the Wendigo's attention. But before it could lunge forward, Jake, fueled by pure adrenaline, grabbed a flaming log from the fire and swung at the creature. The flames caught its flesh, and it howled, a chilling sound that pierced the night. The group seized the moment, rushing past it and out into the freezing wilderness. They ran, breathless, the bitter wind whipping at their faces. But the forest was alive, and something primal pushed them forward. They didn't stop until they reached the road, where the headlights of a car finally offered hope. They collapsed on the roadside, shaken and alone, and glanced back at the dark woods. In the distance, shadowy figures watched them from the tree line, their ghastly eyes glimmering with hunger, a warning that some legends are born from truth. The Wendigo was not merely a story. It was a chilling reality that lurked in the wilderness, waiting for the weak and the lost, an insatiable hunger that would forever haunt their nightmares.